Welcome back to the Hateful Geeks. This week, we're going to be talking about our top fives. We got Sweeney talking about his top 5 first-person shooters of all time.
Hell yeah.
We got Andy talking about his top 5 film soundtracks of all time.
It's going to be awesome.
I will be talking about the top 5 worst video game to film adaptations. And Tim will be talking about his top 5
adult cartoons. I couldn't come up with a better name.
I can't wait. And we're also going to get to hear Andy's one-man performance of the Inception soundtrack.
Bong!
Oh my God. Welcome back again. We're going to have Andy kick it off today with his top 5 greatest film soundtracks. Now, Andy, when you say soundtrack, are you talking about scores or like a print soundtrack?
I have a little bit of both.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to cover the whole gamut.
Rock and roll. Okay, so let's hit it. So hit us, man. What's your top 5?
Everyone's waiting for you.
We are waiting, and here you're going to get it. Number 5. We're going to count down from 5 to 1.
Usually how they do top 5 lists.
Number 5.
It's innovative.
The Dark Knight.
Really?
By Hans Zimmer. I had to give Hans Zimmer some love because, as we heard, Inception. He's very.
Please don't do it.
How does that go?
He's good. And The Dark Knight, a lot of people I actually got feedback were saying that it's not very memorable. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure I said that.
I disagree. As soon as you hear it, you know what it is.
For me, personally, I know you. I'm surprised it's that low.
Let me put it this way. If Hans Zimmer's soundtracks for at least the Dark Knight movies were like a fingerprint, it would be like a fucking mirror. It would be just the most nondescript. Like, it's so unnoticeable and not unique to me. I can't get through it. If you asked me to hum the Dark Knight soundtrack, I wouldn't know where to fucking begin.
I disagree. I think it matches. I'm not going to hum it, but I think it matches the movie very well. I think that's part of a good score is when you're watching the movie, what's going on, the music allows you to feel a little bit of what's going on.
Well, all right. Well, I mean, I like some of his other work. Like you mentioned, Inception.
Yeah.
That's very memorable.
Yeah, I do. I like his work. I think it is memorable. Going into this list, none of us are singers, so we're not going to punish you.
I think you've proved that.
You shut your
That
mouth,
was
sir.
an accurate bong.
I will sing for you later, and I'll woo you.
Awesome. Can't wait. So I have it that low because I am a child of the 80s, and there is many more that I have that will come before that. And I'll even have a couple honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So number 4.
Number 4.
The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
I love Enya too.
Enya.
Or was that Sarah McLachlan?
It was Enya, but I'm going more with the actual composition of Howard Shore.
Okay.
See, I feel right along with Phil with The Dark Knight, where I couldn't tell you where to begin how that score is.
But
actually, I'm going to go complete opposite on this movie. I love the Lord of the Rings soundtrack. It's super memorable.
I think, again, this is also a score. This isn't like, I don't think you're meant to remember like certain moments and hum it. Although I will say with like The Hobbit, the song they sing, like that.
It's from the book.
Yeah, the Tears on the Mountain or something like that.
Yeah, the Lonely Mountain,
Lonely Mountain
chant at the beginning of it.
Yeah, they sing that, and I know a lot of people that didn't actually sing that song. Because
Tolkien wrote
really
prose
cool.
in his books.
No, I mean, I've read The Hobbit. I haven't seen any of The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah, it's a great song they sing. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, I agree. Lord of the Rings, I think, is a great soundtrack, man. It's another one of those like epic soundtracks.
It is. It's a great soundtrack, and it actually makes you feel like, to me, the soundtrack is another character of the film. And a good soundtrack actually makes you feel the emotions that you're supposed to be feeling. And Lord of the Rings is perfect for that. The Shire has its own theme.
Yes, the Shire. I feel like I'm in the Shire when I'm hearing the Shire soundtrack.
The Shire, Mount Doom, when the Uruk-hai are marching.
Oh, see, I can hum the soundtrack.
That's your bong.
So, Did you remember the animated Hobbit movies?
A little bit.
Yeah.
They had like music in them that was from the books, and for an animated film, I was sort of hoping that they were going to keep some of that stuff, like when there's a whip, there's a way, like the orcs and shit at the end in Return of the King. They're all these songs are written by Tolkien, but the live action films left out a bunch of this music.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too. I don't want some cheesy. I get it. I mean, it was a cartoon, so I mean, I know Tolkien wrote it.
Peter Jackson was able to leave it in the first Hobbit film and keep it.
He did,
and keep it like in the universe he is set.
I just think that those ones were a little bit more on the, I want to say cheesy side for that type of movie.
Well, also, I mean, you can get away with a lot more in a cartoon than in real life.
True.
What? This is news to me.
Wait, you mean
I can't run off a cliff and stay elevated as long as I don't look down?
No, I mean, get smashed by an anvil.
You can't pull a sign on your ass.
Want to
hold
my beer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Lord of the Rings. I think it's a good one.
I did. I really enjoyed it.
So we include The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings in this massive legacy of music.
So. I mean, they're all...
I'm more. It's a version of the original trilogy. So The Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King.
Now, of the three, did you have a more I like this one better than this one?
Probably Fellowship, then King, and then Two Towers.
Yeah. Why Fellowship? Is it like
that's what I was introduced into, like just the original.
Yeah,
and it does. It gave each geographical
location.
Yes.
Wow.
Whoa. You know that word.
Words
that
with
word.
Andy.
So each one has its own theme. Each one has its own feel, and it introduced you to Peter Jackson's Middle Earth.
Sure.
And that's why I liked it.
Perfect.
Peter Jackson's had a good run at scores. Like I did The Frighteners. That was a great score too. Probably not as memorable, but still had. But no, I think Peter Jackson's had a good run of that, and he'll continue to do so.
I think so too.
Yeah, his films have pretty good soundtracks.
I agree.
What's next on your list?
All right, number 3. And this one is not due to the actual composition, but to the musical choice in it, and it is the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yes.
So we are going past the fact of just scores, and we are including like actual like pop culture music soundtracks.
Actual like compilations.
Yes,
that was a great. They threw some great songs. The way they had it in the movie, still, I think that was an awesome, just an awesome meld of the world.
Super sounds of the 70s, and the early 80s.
But it also gave you like an attachment to Quill because he's one of us. Like he had this music, and so
that's what he had from Earth.
Right.
He gets abducted, and the only thing he has is the music that his mother gave him.
And he still uses it even when he's walking over whatever that hot water was or that cave he was walking through. He's singing the song and dancing along.
Come get your love.
Right.
Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love now.
Yeah, by Redbone.
Super memorable soundtrack, hands down.
Yep. I agree.
It's great.
That's awesome.
Can we,
and even the second one too. They did it again. I think the second one had a little less favorable songs.
Brandy was in my head for like 3 days straight. Kat and I bought the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a good sound. No, it's a great soundtrack, and I do like how they kind of amped it up a little bit with the very first scene they had Groot trying to plug in the music to actually do it. So I do like the way the Guardians kind of didn't. They had their own score. They had fight scene songs, but then they threw in these great 80s 70s mixes that were just amazing.
Oh, so can I ask you a question before we continue on your list?
Yeah.
So would you say that Guardians is the only one on your list that is a very pop culture soundtrack? The rest scores.
There's one coming up that will be a mix, but that's the only one that I have right now of just an actual compilation. What also I kind of went back and forth with in that area to fill in that section could have been Pulp Fiction or Friday.
What about Purple Rain?
Oh.
I'm probably not as big of a Prince fan as you. So, also,
Diamonds and Pearls.
I'll put it out there.
So much
I've never seen Purple Rain.
You've never? How have you never fucking seen Purple Rain?
I've never seen Purple. I've never seen it.
You're not awoken until you see Purple Rain. Do you want to bathe yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka?
I play in Awoken. I'm an Awoken.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, this isn't Destiny. I'm playing and Awoken. No, Purple Rain, I feel like should have at least gets an honorable mention for amazing like musical films and having.
See,
it's one of the most purchased soundtracks in the history of soundtracks.
I have an issue with that a little bit because at that point we're watching a movie and just has his soundtrack. Like you can go with these. You heard all these songs after that.
It's about rock and love and making it, man.
It's like almost like just she's self-promoting in a movie level.
Dude, the time was in it.
Yes.
That's not even his band.
See, I mean, I love Prince. Don't get me wrong. I love
Jungle
Prince.
Love.
But
yeah.
I wouldn't put that movie's soundtrack like score wise above others just because I love his music. I think that's dumb. I don't like that. I'm gonna love his music. I'm gonna love it, but like I'm not gonna put a movie
Willy
score.
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That would be me like putting A Hard Day's Night as my number one because I'm a huge Beatles fan.
Right, exactly.
I think I see what your point is.
But okay, I get it. So you think that Purple Rain is self-promotional, so it doesn't belong in the.
I think it's a great movie, and I think he has great songs, but I would not put it because of that in a high list of soundtracks.
So knowing that, then what about a movie like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? That is probably one of the most memorable musicals in the history of.
All I remember of that is the Oompa Loompa song.
Right.
I don't have a single musical movie in my top 5 because
it's not your type of movie.
I hate musicals.
Yes. Oh, I love musicals.
I hate
Swing
musicals.
Todd.
I hate musicals.
Hey, don't talk about me that way.
Dude, seriously, I need to educate you because musicals are cool now. You can like musicals.
I hate musicals.
All right, we're done with that. All right.
Point
taken.
Point taken.
So Guardians of the Galaxy round, that's number 3, and we do. Everyone here loves it. Number 2, the 1989 Batman. And there's where I will give you your love for Prince.
Yay!
But more
man.
so for the Danny Elfman soundtrack.
Yeah.
That continued there at the late 80s, giving a character a theme. And it is awesome.
That theme is still used in other media today, like in the Lego Batman game. It's all throughout that.
Yeah, it's still used. And no matter how many times I watch the movie, the very ending scene where he's standing on the scaffolding, the bat signal showing, and that Elfman music is playing with the bells chiming. Look, I'm getting the goosebumps now describing it.
Ew, you actually are.
The Goosies.
Oh. Gross.
It is awesome.
I want to hear you sing.
Wait.
I want to hear it too. How does it go?
It goes ba 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 ba.
All right, stop.
God.
Stop.
Wow.
Please stop.
Wow, what?
That was a bad idea. Sorry, guys.
What an adult you are.
I didn't mean to have him sing that. That's my bad.
You did it.
My
You
bad,
brought
guys.
that on you.
What about who do you trust? Money, money, money. Who do you trust?
And it is.
Money. Who do you trust?
This town needs an enema.
Party Man was the perfect song for that parade scene.
God, I love that. I love that Joker.
Trust.
That is
Who do you?
Nicholson and Ledger is Joker A and B.
I love that
They're
Joker.
both right there. 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
They're great.
Party Man plays when he's in the museum and like the face.
Yes.
Face and everything.
Trust is what plays when he's doing the
Trust is
parade.
great.
Parade, yeah.
Both of those are great scenes. And Nicole and what's her name again? I apologize.
Kim Basinger.
Kim Basinger's face when Jack Nicholson sits down and just turns off the boombox, and you're like, yeah, he's fucking nuts. But turn that back on though.
I like that music back, please. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, after I took some convincing, but once I reheard the music, yes, it's very memorable. It's good sound.
And Danny Elfman does a lot of great soundtracks. All this stuff does sound the same, but the same could be said for every composer, including my number 1, Star Wars.
Oh boy.
You went a little Casey Kasem there. I liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Star Wars. Original trilogy Star Wars. And same as The Empire Strikes Back was a great sequel, its soundtrack was also better because we got the Imperial March.
Mm-hmm. That's an iconic song. I mean, everybody knows that.
Everyone.
Yeah, John Williams is immortal. He's like the Beatles of movie scores.
Yeah. I mean, and he's used a lot. I mean, I think that's because of Star Wars.
I mean, Richard Donner, dude. He did the Richard Donner Superman films. Like John Williams, like Krypton, the entire soundtrack. Like, I got chills.
I think Star Wars launched him. Like I think that was his like launching pad was this movie and how well he made this. I don't know if I call it futuristic because it's supposed to be a long time ago, but whatever. It's perfect in every way for every planet, every like scene transition.
It's the same. He gave an identity to people, places, things. Like when the Death Star approaches, and it has like everything has a feel to it, and the music is just as important in the Star Wars universe as every single other thing in there.
And yet we couldn't use this score for Rogue One.
I was just gonna say, and the reason Andy hates Rogue One.
Phil hates
there
Rogue
is
One
no
too.
John Williams music except for the Imperial March. It doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie because of the lack of the music.
Yeah, and see, that's where we disagree a little bit, but that's for another topic. I think we've already talked about before, but I do agree. The John Williams score made the movie. It didn't make the movie, but it definitely helped make the movie epic.
You could hear just the music and you instantly know what it is. It's iconic.
It's easily one of the most memorable soundtracks, and it's probably one that's going to outlive him.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's done several that will outlive him.
But he's. I don't know, man. Like, I want to yell at you for some of your past other choices. I can't, but there's no way anyone can argue with you against John Williams.
No, I mean, he's done so many.
And that's what I'm saying. I had an honorable mention list, and it's all John Williams because that's how good he is. Indiana Jones.
I was going to say Indiana Jones better be on your honorable mention.
I'm surprised you didn't put it up there. Like that's
Superman, Jaws. I mean, this guy just keeps cranking out amazing soundtracks, and he gives everything a night. He
comes back
makes
and
themes. He understands themes.
Bam!
I think you're a homer, and you put 2 Batman in your top 5.
You did.
I did put 2 Batman, but they both are deservedly so in there.
I don't understand. Like, I like the Dark Knight soundtrack, but Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
How did Indy get not put in there?
I was also trying to split. I didn't want it to be like, here's my top 5 soundtracks. They're all John Williams.
Hey,
I could have done that.
Nobody would have argued with you.
Right now, I kind of feel like I want to like call shenanigans on you a little bit. I feel like you squeezed that one into your 5, and it don't belong there. But you just needed a 2 Batman movie.
You needed that Batman movie.
No, because the Dark Knight. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Just listen to the music, and you'll actually be able to pick out what scene that is playing from like, just hearing it.
Like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones just takes me back to my childhood and wanting to go on just.
You want to go on adventures with Indy?
Just dumbass adventures on my bike. Yeah, Dr. Jones.
I met that guy. The guy who played Short Round. Key hook.
No, lady, you call him Dr. Jones.
Yeah, hold on to your potatoes. He's an interesting fellow. That gentleman.
Yeah, I mean, I like your list for the most part. I don't think Dark Knight should be in there.
It should. It's okay.
I think there's just so many movies out there. And good God, thankfully we didn't include the good song soundtracks.
Yeah.
Like the Beatles.
That could be its
that could be its own.
That's its own genre.
Yeah.
You can't use the Beatles. It's a trump card. It's like playing, the really bad cards in Cards Against Humanity. You can't use the Beatles. They are their own.
I mean, I could have gone with The Wall, Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Yeah.
That entire movie is the soundtrack.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm surprised you didn't be the Floyd fan.
But that's in the same vein as Purple Rain. It's self-promoting.
I lost that too.
I agree. That's why it wasn't in there. And as much as I like Pink Floyd is my number one.
Fine. All right.
So do you just not like Indiana Jones?
No, I love Indiana Jones, but I was trying to split it up. I didn't want it to be John Williams heavy. I wanted, because I like Hans Zimmer. I like his library of work, and I wanted to make sure I got it in there.
I feel like Hans Zimmer does everything now.
Beetlejuice soundtrack.
That's Danny Elfman.
Yeah, I know. But
I already had him on the list.
For what? What was
89 Batman.
Oh, man.
What about the new Danny Elfman soundtrack coming out?
For the Justice League? Yeah. I'm hoping he goes back to that kind of...
You think we're going to get Beetlejuice or 89 Batman?
I want both.
Oh.
You can't have both.
I just want that Elfman sound.
Or are you going to get, what is it? He does Simpsons too, doesn't he?
He does do the Simpsons.
dead.
Get that quirky little cartoon music.
Yeah, if it was Tim Burton also, it was Danny Elfman.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All
well,
right.
if you... what about 2001: A Space Odyssey?
It is good. Everyone knows it though for the big timpani drums.
What does that sound like, Andy?
It sounds like banging drums. You know? But
I want to get into singing.
That song is good.
Okay, well, so I mean, I guess it's hard to fit in a top 5. Like top 5 is
there's so many good soundtracks out there.
Yeah,
we're limiting ourselves, but intentionally because there's
of
four
course.
Of us.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Fair enough.
Can't make it a giant list because we'll go on for hours about songs or whatever.
I'd love to hear sometime in the future maybe your opinion on top 5 video game soundtracks.
Definitely.
I don't really care about video game soundtracks.
All right, well, you're a fucking party pooper, and we're gonna move along.
I'm just saying, like I don't really ever pay attention to a video game because of the soundtrack.
Okay.
So, but segueing into video games, then
Ooh, look at you.
I believe Sweeney has a video game list.
Yeah, so I have a big list of. I don't want to do all video games because that's stupid. There's like so many different genres. I couldn't just do a top 5 of video games because that would be pointless. So top 5 first-person shooters because for me, that was one of the first games I played as a kid, coming into like Turok or coming into like Halo or Perfect Dark or all these games. So that was kind of my first introduction outside of like maybe, Mario Brothers, Zelda. But even back then we had Duck Hunt, which still a first person shooter, man. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and kick this list. So on my list, I think I'm going to have some games that you guys disagree with. Because we already talked about this previously. So on top number 5, old school, Doom.
Oh, that's so ironic.
Because Doom was like the first computer game that I just freaking loved. Loved putting in the cheat codes. Loved going in with the BFG. Going in, shotgunning, demon zombie face guys. And it was a hard game for one when you didn't have the cheat codes. Once you had the cheat codes, you could just kind of run through. Go through with a chainsaw. Hell, you go with your bare fist and start punching demons in the face.
I have a feeling that Doom is going to get raked over the coals tonight. It's going to get mentioned in my list too. But in regards to its video game heritage, it is probably one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. It taught me what first-person shooter ultraviolence was.
Oh yeah, it was
what it
super.
Could be.
Even for its like 8-bit self back in the day, it was super gory, super just destructive.
It was pretty sweet, man. Like the weapons, the shotguns.
Oh
like,
yeah, all rocket launchers.
But there was no jump. And there was no. It was very brass tacks.
It was just scrolling forward and shooting things as you go, or punching it, or using the chainsaw, which is really cool.
When Doom came out and everybody was playing it, by the time I started to play, and especially on a computer because I was a console kid with the NES and Atari. By the time I got a computer and was playing, I played some Doom and I liked it, but Quake and Quake 2 was actually out at that same time, and I loved Quake 2, especially with all the mods and the cheats that you could put in that where you could use like the grappling hook, and that is where I learned that being a camper is kind of fun.
I hate you so much because you're such a dick.
I would grapple hook as high up as I could with a rocket launcher and just sit there and wait for people to run underneath me.
You're that asshole.
I was that asshole.
You friggin' jerk off. That's like the most asshole move you can do in a video game.
Because I hate campers.
Now you always complain about campers. You yell at them. Why don't you get your tent?
It's karma, man.
But that's how I was a child. That's how children play.
Andy,
so if you're a grown man and we all are. Come on now.
Yeah. So you were like a Gen 2 first-person shooter kid, and then you kind of dabbled with the early shit, like Wolfenstein and Doom and all that stuff.
So, Quake, Unreal Tournament were on my... Originally, when I started building my list, they were there. But then I thought about, like, Doom made these. Like,
Wolfenstein made Doom.
Okay. But see, I'm a little younger. I didn't really play Wolfenstein that much. I did not. I had Doom. My family, we didn't do a lot. My mom still hates the fact that I play video games.
This is the nicest way I've been told I'm old in a long time, by the way.
Right.
Thank you.
I let you off easy. So yeah, we didn't have my mom didn't buy me video games, but I somehow managed to get Doom out of the situation. I'm not really sure how I did that, but so yeah, Doom number 5 for me. And those other games, Quake, Unreal Tournament, obviously their graphics upped the ante back then. They looked better, they played better, but I think without Doom and Wolfenstein, you wouldn't even had these computer-based shooters. So I think that's why I made my list above them.
Fair enough. I'm glad we at least mentioned Quake Railgun. Railgun alone gives Quake and rocket jumping.
We'll get to another Railgun on my list here coming up. So, So next one, number 4, Counter-Strike. I know all you Call of Duty loving Battlefield cocksuckers love to see how good your games are. Well, it all started with Counter-Strike. And this game is still freaking around.
I've never played it.
Oh my god!
I used to play it old school and aimbotted.
I've never.
Come at me, bro.
Well, I mean, like Andy, like I was console, and I didn't. Honestly, like I don't think our family had a computer until like 1998.
If you haven't played a first-person shooter and used a mouse to aim, you have no idea what you're missing.
Arctic Warfare rifle.
Counter-Strike.
Oh my god, Counter-Strike was amazing. And for almost one sole fact for me, they introduced the gun game. The gun game, which I'm sure all you Call of Duty people have played now, is because they stole it from Counter-Strike, was you start out with a certain weapon and you move through a cycle of weapons, and the way to win, you had to get first a grenade kill, and then you had to stab somebody while they're all using guns. It was the best challenge game. It was the best just overall fun running around trying to get different kills, different weapons.
It's a party game.
Yeah, it was a huge party game. It was amazing. And Counter-Strike made that. That was their own custom version before we had DLCs, before we had, people making custom servers, stuff like that. They had their own people that played the game make the servers.
Dude, Counter-Strike did a lot more than that. Counter-Strike was one of the first semi-realistic military fight, first-person shooter games. The weapons in it were actual
they were accurate
military weapons.
Yep.
And that was one of the first time people had started seeing that, because guns were very you can shoot aliens, and you can shoot laser beams, and fight demons, and have ridiculous crap. This was real military grade, like the Arctic Warfare rifle, my favorite sniper rifle. Also the biggest, the Desert Eagle, the 5.0.
Yes. And I think, so the reason this one made it above, I will apologize to a little bit of you Call of Duty players if you played the original Call of Duty, the original World War I, World War II Call of Duty, not this Infinite Warfare, I can shoot electricity out of my dick,
wall running? Whatever
the fuck it is. The original was very similar to Counter-Strike, but it actually had a story behind it. It was World War II. It was, Americans, Russians, Germans, all fighting. So it was actually, and it was the same style. It was the same style of old, like you said, the military style of shooting. The, snipers you actually had to be accurate with. You couldn't just quick scope people. You actually had to take time and aim and do things. So that's why I think Counter-Strike kind of beat out Call of Duty for me a little bit, is because they had a little more things involved in the game, where Call of Duty was strictly a multiplayer. Strictly, you did have some campaign, but Counter-Strike allowed for custom servers, allowed for the players to kind of build their own types of games. It was very, very in depth and an awesome game.
Modding started becoming real big because of Counter-Strike.
Yep.
With Counter-Strike, I would definitely say Counter-Strike is a huge milestone turning point for first-person shooters.
I agree.
What's next on your list?
So the next one, you get into those alien shooting, Destiny.
Oh my god. Okay, let's just get this out of the way right now. All the exclusion of Tim and Annie over there, we have a serious addiction.
Yes.
For this game. I'm fairly certain between the three of us, we've clocked over 6 months.
Oh, easily. We've played this game from inception. We've played this game. We pre-ordered it. Hell, I have the white PS4 that came out with the original game.
Me too.
So, I love this game. And it's not just for, it's a first-person shooter. They fucking gave you an MMO. They gave you... Kind of. Well, until you can have,
I'll bitch about that some other time.
But, they gave you they didn't give you a story. The story kind of sucked. But they gave you the end game that you wanted from a raid. They gave you the strikes. They gave you, fire teams. Gear. They gave you gear to go after.
I have no problem with any of the mechanics of Destiny. They are perfect. The gunfighting is perfect. The gear system is fun. I get it.
Are amazing.
It keeps me coming back. But they dropped story on the ball.
They did.
They just dropped that shit in a toilet.
Yeah, they forgot that they needed a story for a good game. And I will fault them a little bit there, but they make up for it in every other way. It's just, it gives you, so for your World of Warcraft players, it gives you that, I need to go get gear, I need to go grind, I need to find the epic pieces or the exotic pieces that I want.
And you can play Warlocks, space dress up.
And I was going to say, as you guys know, I couldn't give two shits if there was a story, so the game was amazing.
Yeah, you don't get
even playing
Substance, what's that?
I don't care. I was like let me get some awesome gear, some awesome guns, and go shoot the shit out of stuff. And Destiny was like, here you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they gave you the ability to do multiplayer. So you could go and fight other Guardians, and you go and actually have that competitive spirit where if you want to be like, hey, I'm better than you, I'm going to show you, you could do it. It wasn't always just against the AI. And
I think raiding was the best part of the game.
It was. I agree. I think raiding, the
puzzles, the cooperation, the timing, the exactness.
It's so in depth.
It requires every single person to be on their game.
Yep.
If one person screws up, we're all fucked.
And they made it challenging. Not like it wasn't like vanilla WoW challenging where you needed 40 people to cooperate to get one thing done. But it was challenging enough that it was not. No one's just going to burn through it. And the mechanic, the way that they thought of the worlds, the characters, the creatures. I mean, it was so much thought process into these different races and these different styles of what you had to do. They did forget the story, but it was just so much substance to this game. Like you said, you go to a raid, it's not just going to shoot things. You got to go solve puzzles. You got to go solve tricks. Hell, one of the new raids, you have to actually do no binary. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, they added all this stuff into it.
There's a lot of like Easter egg quests and things like that really add depth to the game. And but once again, it still needs a plot.
True.
Ultimately, you have to have a reason to do what you're doing.
Yeah, they sucked that bad.
Destiny 2.
I'm hoping. So far, Destiny 2's story looks good. So far.
Now that you've given me a game that set up the universe but didn't make me do anything in it, now you're going to give me the game that like lets me go have like a grand adventure in that universe.
Well, that and the whole premise is you losing your light. Like that's so I don't know.
I'm sure space
all
powers.
Destiny players know this, or you don't know Destiny. Your way you're powered up is through the Traveler, who gives you this spark of light that makes you actually pretty much, I don't want to say demigods, or I don't know what you are, but you're like this powered up soldier.
You're super magic space powers, shoot lightning and fire.
So everybody has their own powers, unique powers. Every class has their own way of doing things. But in Destiny 2, we find out very early on you're defeated. They take the Traveler and you lose your light. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with that.
You're going to grab a goddamn rocket launcher and a machine gun and go get your shit back.
Right, exactly.
I'm hoping for a little more open worldness to it also. Maybe a little. I understand its limitations, especially on that type of gaming, but even the maps that are there now, you could go left and right a little bit, but they're still pretty linear with, oh, look, there's a path on the ground.
Well,
that's the path.
I think that's most games. They want to give you a route to follow.
Yeah.
But I will. Yeah, you're right. The fact that you only can go to one country on Earth is kind of stupid. Now I get maybe the rest of the world's destroyed, but why can't I go out there?
Well, we're getting the European dead zone in Destiny 2.
Okay.
So we're leaving Mother Russia and we're going to
right.
To
It's Russia for some random reason. Russia survived.
It's just big and barren and hard to find shit there.
Very. I guess that makes sense.
Civil rights.
Kind of like cockroaches.
Anyway.
So yeah, Destiny high on my list. It's not higher than the next one because this is an old school classic that anybody that played a Nintendo 64 played. GoldenEye.
Yes.
Did anyone not in this room not play GoldenEye? If you did, get the hell out right now.
GoldenEye.
I played GoldenEye.
I looked at you because
I played a shit ton of GoldenEye.
I had many all-nighters.
Oh my god! So I had friends over weekends. My mom would wake up. My mom used to work at 5 a.m. in the weekends, and so I had to run and hide at 5 a.m. because I was still up playing GoldenEye all night with my friends. Like I've had so many friends come over this game. I mean, not even just for 007, cool. Like we love 007 movies. They were great. We were growing up with them. But you get all the bad guys, you get the good guys, and you get mods too. Like you had all these cheat codes, like paintball mode, big head mode, tiny mode, which if you're Odd Job really made you small.
Golden gun mode.
Cheating. if you ever play Odd Job, you're a cheater.
Yeah, Odd Job is super cheating.
The golden gun in that game ruined friendship.
It did.
The first person to get to that
Whoever
gun,
ran for
it would, yeah.
I was played as 006 Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Because I figured if I was going to be dying a lot in a first-person shooter, I needed to be Sean Bean.
The guy actually dies a lot.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So I know a lot of people give it shit because the shooting mechanics were awful. Like you could stand right in front of somebody and hit fire and miss every bullet. But I just have so many good memories of that game.
Yeah, the
It's
nostalgia
a great couch
alone.
co-op.
Oh my
couch
god!
versus
And the 64 had 4 inputs. You actually could play with 4 friends. It was before networks came out. I mean, it was before you could go online and play with people. So it was the first true multi-person fighter game that lets you like have multiple modes and just like have a fun time with your friends and actually not have to all play different games or trade off using the controller.
Pierce Brosnan looked legit in that game. That was straight up Pierce Brosnan. That little 3D Pierce Brosnan
head thing.
Yep. Looked just like him. Not at all.
Not at all. No, none of them look like it. But yeah, so that's number 2 for me.
All right.
And then
the greatest?
Number 1 all time for me is another nostalgia game for me and my friends. We played a lot. But it's also to help develop a brand. Halo. Halo built the Microsoft.
No, I'm not holding back. Fuck you.
I hate Halo.
You fucking bro chotch bag.
No. Halo, I remember growing up and taking 4 Xboxes to my friend's house. We all land together and play.
Did you drink past Blue Ribbon and...
No. Drink Mountain Dew and ate Doritos. Collars. Like, what the hell kind of geek were you?
Halo was, to me, the point at which first-person shooters started getting to, like, just way too bro-y. Like, there's not a lot of... Master Chief
you can't define a game by the people who play it.
A blank slate character. He's just the greatest fucking space soldier ever.
You can't define a game by the people who play it and are assholes. That's dumb.
Fair enough. Like, but I'm not a fan of Halo. Halo created the Xbox. That forces me to buy an Xbox. That's kind of why I don't like it too.
Forced you. At the time, that's all there was.
I played it on PC. The vehicles were fun. Like the Warthog was fun. The guns are pretty cool.
Yeah, the Needler. I mean, that thing was fucking sweet.
I just didn't really care about Master Chief as a character.
Oh, I never played the story mode. I could give a shit about the story mode.
Oh, you played that online?
Yeah, but I played. Well, back then it wasn't online. It was LAN parties. You had to like hook up. I'm not talking about the Halos that came out later, where it had all the douchebags like try to troll you online. I'm talking about the original Halo on the original Xbox, where you had to link up with your friends with the network cable, and half the time it didn't fucking work because you had to like trick it into thinking you were together to get actually LAN party set up. But we'd have 4 of them in one house, and we'd have 16 people just like all playing this all night long.
I feel like Halo, the best thing to come out of Halo is Red vs. Blue by Rooster Teeth.
Oh, absolutely.
On Netflix. I watched that. Thanks, Halo, for Rooster Teeth and Red vs. Blue.
Like you said, you have all the weapons. Like so many fun guns. And yes, it is a little bit more like futuristic and, the kind of like what we just talk about we don't like. But this was like the first one to really do it. And it was like... They had a mix of both, like, actual ballistic weapons, and they had these futuristic alien weapons, and you could pick which side you're going to be on. Like, it was kind of a cool thing.
Did Halo invent the regenerating health and shields mechanic in first-person shooters?
I believe so. That was the first time you actually had that mechanic come up.
That's pretty much like the standard now.
Yeah, I guess that's cool.
Oh, thanks, Andy. Yeah, thanks for your approval on that one.
So Xbox, come on, man.
I never owned an Xbox. Right. I've always been a PlayStation guy, and... the weirdest reason is I just don't like the feel of an Xbox controller.
Oh, the controller was fucking awful.
So the first time I ever played Halo, it was a friend from work brings over an Xbox, and he was like, you guys should try to play Halo. And I'm like, okay. And he gives me this controller, and I'm just staring at it like, what is this abomination in my hands? And I look up, and it's like, oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. I'm like, dude, what am I doing to play? And he's like, Broy Chotch. And then it's just like, okay, I don't want to play anymore.
That was your friend, though.
Yeah, so it's just like...
You're our friend, too, you Broy Chotch. Anyway.
No, I didn't... And I never viewed it as a Broy Chotch game. It was just a game we could all have tournaments with my friends. You make custom games. We used to do snipers and rocket launchers. That was like the most opposite things to do. We used to have that custom game. It was a blast.
Halo is an FHFPS. That is a frat house first-person shooter.
I was not in a fraternity, so I don't agree with you at all. But none of my friends were actually.
I'll give it the credit for it did. It built the Xbox.
It built their brand.
It gave them that.
Now it's unfortunately
it gave us Red versus Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good story to it. It just wasn't. It wouldn't be my number one.
Now, it wouldn't be in my top 20.
Oh my god! Shut the fuck up. But like, and I don't mean the multiple releases after, because Microsoft is holding on to that now, and it's kind of like, guys, you gotta do something else, because Sony is much better now. But back then, I didn't have a PlayStation. I didn't have that, but my friends all had Xboxes, so it was like
my friends had PlayStations, bro. That's a high five. You didn't see it, but it was a high five.
They could hear it.
Yeah,
they're not deaf. They're listening to a podcast. Anyway,
moving on.
So that was like for me, a mix of nostalgia, a mix of brand making, a mix of one of the best games I've ever played back then at the time. It's number one for me.
I don't really feel your love for it. I feel like you're forcing it. I don't know. Halo.
I'm not forcing it at all.
I mean, I'm like Andy, where I didn't really play Xbox a whole lot, so Halo was kind of meh. Whatever.
And that's fine. Yeah,
but there's a shit ton of people out there that love it.
Yeah, that's why Microsoft was successful in their Xbox.
Well, there's 5 or 6 different Halos.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and they're still trying to make them. Like I said, Microsoft needs to let go a little bit because that's their only exclusive now, and it's not what it used to be for them. So I do agree with that, but the original for me will always be number one.
You might need to cut this later, but I think when I lost the Xbox in my divorce, I really wasn't that sad. I was like, meh, bye, buddy.
Well, and I had both. Even recently, I had Xbox One and the PS4, but I did sell my Xbox One because like I said, they don't really have that exclusivity anymore, and they don't really have games. I'm like, oh, I want this, and no reason to have both.
I mean, I see what you mean because it did launch the Xbox into what it is today because it was their first big hit.
Yep,
it was their first huge hit. It's the Super Mario Brothers of Xbox.
Yep.
Yeah, and I blame it a lot for that. But anyway,
wow.
So I'd say that you've definitely. One thing I will agree with that Halo was a super popular game. It's definitely
yes.
It had a huge effect on the video game industry. I'll concede that.
I'll give that to you because to me, it has recently sucked big balls, but Call of Duty was my Halo.
And
I didn't get into it until late also, Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
But then playing that, I was like, this is awesome. I loved it. And then they just went off the we need to be like Destiny shit fit.
Yeah, and I just think they're trying too hard now with Microsoft is trying to hold on to the one exclusive they have, and they keep reproducing it. So it has lost a little bit of its shine.
Losing Destiny
Bungie
was big for that.
Yeah. Because Bungie left to make Destiny.
Correct. Right? Bungie also made Halo.
Yeah.
So
the first Halo. I mean,
it's what
put the one I actually liked.
It's what put Bungie on the map. I thought they did the first 2.
They did the first 2.
You're right. Was the second one where they introduced dual wielding in Halo?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't remember. I think it was. Yes. And it also was the only one actually a continuation of the original story, so it actually had some merit still. And then they kind of got away from that and kind of sprawled out into this other crap that was more. Really, they realized what the cash grab was for multiplayer, and they stopped worrying so much about the story.
All right. Well. We're just going to have to agree to disagree because fuck that game.
I will get you guys to like it one day. We'll sit down again and try to play it, and maybe I can convince you.
I'm down.
I'll think about it.
Well, that wraps up the first part of our top 5 lists. Tune in next week to hear Phil's video game to movie adaptations, and Tim will talk about his favorite adult cartoons. This is the Hateful Geeks. Catch you next time.